Hello and welcome back to the Festival of Storytellers, Chapter 3. Thank you for still tuning in and watching the pre-recording of Mr. Russell McDonald, the author of the book Real Prison, Real Freedom. So, Leah? Yes, Nancy. Yeah, as the pre-recording earlier with Mr. Russell McDonald, I mean, his moderator is actually another author. Yeah, right. James Hennick. And it's actually really nice to see like the interaction of authors right now with how his like the interviewer itself, like the author itself, and another author as being interviewed. And that's the book of Mr. Dr. McDonald is the real prison, real freedom, and it talks about life in prison and what is and actually inspired by a guy named Ricky Smith. That's right. He had been friends with in prison and awarded name Kiss Prize. So, what like how did you feel with the the pre-recording session earlier? For me, it was really such a good story. I can tell, especially that this is the first book of Mr. Rosa McDonald. I mean, I really like the idea of having that someone be in the picture cultivated by the experiences they've had from the past. Especially, his book is also talks about, let's say, freedom, talks about faith, talks about wisdom. I mean, it's really such a good book. Yeah. I really find it interesting, especially when it's talking about life in prison, because I know that there's a lot of people can really relate to that. I mean, it's not just about them creating such crime, but it's also about them letting the people know what is the experiences speaking on that bars. Yes, that's right. Because with Mr. Router McDonald's book, actually, Real Freedom, it actually talks about like the hardship of the people in the prison. Because like on that book, they're saying like those are the people that are failures. But usually, the people who are in prison are the ones who have problems, abused by someone when they were a kid, and then it influenced them as they grow up, about drugs. There's a lot of things that they went to prison because they didn't experience a lot of good things in life. So it's actually like hard for them that way that like it was a mistake, but because of that mistake, they are sent to prison with a life sentence or how many years of like bad experiences, even though their life is already like bad enough. Exactly. That's what I have mentioned earlier, Nancy, that somehow this experience being on that bars, being in the prison is also the thing that really cultivated them from the past. Yeah. Especially about, just like, for example, about what Rosa McDonald's book talks about. This is about the life of um, Ricky Smith, which is having that difficult life growing up, the upbringing of the family, parents are fighting. So somehow it's really one of the things that really molded him to do such acts, to be on that prison, the bad experiences, the things that he have encountered, which is really not good things. So that's exactly one of the reasons why he's in that prison. But what the good thing about this story is, even if it's really, even if, let's say it's very sad, it's very doomed, life is really, black and white only, but it's somehow, by the power of God, of course, he found freedom, even if he's still in prison. It's very interesting. God really moves in its mysterious way, especially by helping people to really have that faith. So yeah, as long as you have the faith, everything will be fine. I mean, like God is always pushing us. So with Ricky's story, like Ricky Smith's story is actually quite heart wrenching. And when he was a kid, he had a lot of hardship, and then he was sent to prison because of a drug trafficking thing, and he was sentenced for like 10 years. But after that, because there's a lot of things going on in prison, gun wars, injustices, and something. Fighting after fighting. Yes. So I think the story, as I have actually listened to the pre-recording, Ricky Smith was sentenced to lifetime in prison and couldn't. A lot of like police or like a lot of people told him that he cannot experience the outside world anymore. Yeah. But at least he found something with faith, with God, and that helped him a lot. And also, I think a lot of prisoners actually do lean on that with their family, their loved ones, and also God. Because there's a lot of things going on in there that like us that doesn't experience that thing in the prison doesn't know. I mean, like with how really hard they are living there inside of that cell. Like you cannot see anything.
True.
Like you can only experience and see other people, but I mean, it's hard because we cannot go swimming. You're like,
Yeah, right.
it's the life that we have right now
You
here.
can't really experience the outside life. And you know what, Nelsie? One of the things that I think that really highlighted this book, because it's not, after all, if you really realize, the story is really based not just the life of someone who's in the prison, but it also talks about life from the outside world.
Yes.
Because even me, like I myself personally, like I feel like I'm in also in prison, especially of let's say, because we also have like some bad experience as well, right? And for us, it's also creating this what do you call
Your
this one?
own prison?
This aura that, yeah, my own prison. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's somehow I'm creating my own prison, like for not saying the truth, for not really letting myself out, because I'm also afraid to be judged,
Yes.
right?
Oh, like I mean, I think there's not person who doesn't like to be judged.
That's
I mean,
exactly.
maybe a lot of people are confident enough to like show themselves, but they're still afraid somehow to be judged by other people. That's why they're sometimes hiding behind a person,
Exactly.
like hiding like mask behind the like smiles and stuff.
Right. What about you, Nelsie? Is there any experience in your life that you can tell that, hey, I'm exactly creating my own prison? Like, you know,
Yeah, every day some like working. I mean, like you're enjoying something, but sometimes when there's things happening at home, happening in your life, it's actually really hard, but you need to keep going. That's why sometimes you need to put a mask on yourself and just like start like just smile.
keep smiling.
You keep smiling, talking, laughing, and doing things.
Make it till you make it.
Yes, actually that's true.
Right.
I mean, since like childhood or something, if you have hardships and then you experience a lot of those things, and like sometimes kids that experience a lot of hardships and unfair treatment since they are a child, and when they grow up and start like to think for themselves, they will start to put like their own walls from other people,
Right.
and that's starting to
Creating
become
those own barriers that would really led them into, having some negative thoughts, negative doing. So that's
Yes.
what exactly would really led them to doing things that they're not supposed to
And
do.
sometimes they're called failures, even though
Right.
they're not it's not their fault that they become like that. Sometimes it's because of the environment, of how you were raised, or maybe how unfair society right now is. Like I mean, there's a lot of kids right now are having like problems with poverty, doesn't have any money, and sometimes they will try to steal because they're like hungry, they don't have anything to eat, but because for us with the law having right now, it's a crime for that. And you cannot blame kids sometimes if they're hungry and they just want to eat something, but they don't have money and they cannot just work because we have also a
They
lot.
really need to find that way in order for them to really live life.
Yes.
Every day. Every day is really a battle, not just for those who experience the life in the streets, but again, everyone can really relate to this kind of book, this kind of topic, that really something that would really show someone that every battles, every circumstances in your life, every challenges, sacrifices that you have, there's still going to be that someone who can really inspire you to
They're still alive.
get up.
They're still alive.
Right.
In the end of the tunnel.
After darkness. Right. So, especially when it comes to, for me, because when it comes to faith, I mean, I really have that faith. It's just that sometimes, as what I have mentioned earlier, Nelsie, that it's really your own experiences that would really cultivate you to like have that negative thought.
Those like piled up and piled up and piled up. Sometimes you have faith, but then because you're trying to think, why is it so unfair? That's why they're starting sometimes.
They're actually waiting that something. Come on,
Where?
Where can I get that something that I'm wishing on? Oh my God!
Like where? What? How? There's a lot of questions going on. Especially
how come people are getting this, and how come I'm not getting this?
Yes, especially like when you're also working as part of them, or maybe you're even working beyond them. Like they're just working minimal, like there's like a privilege sometimes.
It's
That
like,
you
hey, come on, I'm doing my 100% thing here, but how come I'm just getting this? Like, it's really the purpose, but after all, it's really something that would really tell you that everything has its really good timing, has its purpose, right? And when you find that one in your heart, when you find that one, especially um, that experience would really let you also having that I mean those person who's actually looking up something like you, and it's really a good thing that you also inspire them, right? Just what the Rosa McDonald book does.
Yes. Even though there's a lot of sad things going on in the book, it's also inspiring to let people know that even though they're like to let people know what is doing inside there that we don't know. Because I mean, how can we know? There's not like a live streaming the happening maybe.
Sure.
So I mean, like it's also an inspirational book that lets us think of how we deal with other people, how like we build our kids, like how can we build their future that not end up to be prison or something like that. Like how can we interact with how can we help with everyone? Like if you can see a kid that needs food, needs something, maybe even though you don't have much, but at least maybe you can give something
A
that
little, yeah.
a little bit of that something that can maybe help them. That will be actually a great thing. Because I mean, when you do something for a person, like a little good morning sometimes can change everything. Like when you're having a bad day and you don't know what to do, but there's like, oh, you're so pretty. And like, you'll be,
I would
there's
really
a
understand that.
smile in your face and it will lighten up your day, even though like there's a lot of shitty things happening that you're late at work, you got wet from it.
Exactly.
But when you do something bad to a person that is already having a bad day, that's quite like more depressing for them. So, a little good deed.
You really drain someone totally, like, yeah. And it's actually a good thing, as like you have mentioned earlier, Nancy. I like that. Even just, simple gestures, simple greetings for someone who's also, because you might not know.
You
like,
don't know.
Even if, Bowden, both of us is talking right now. I'm really not sure if you're struggling something right now, but it's also a good thing that I know, especially having this journey, it's also a good exercise for us to also, try to express ourselves, right? Yeah, it's a great help.
Yeah, of course, it's actually a really great help because I mean a little bit of something like a little bit of a good thing or being nice, even though you don't want to, you don't know the person or you don't know anything about them, but smiling or like being good to them or nice for just a little bit is actually a good thing because you don't know anything of what they're experiencing on that day, on that week, on that hour. So everything is connected. Like I mean, even though like what you said earlier, it's sometimes it's unfair that you can get what you want right away, but sometimes there's always a reason for that thing. Like everything is connected to everything. Everything has like you can sometimes when you're right now when you're already like older maybe something like when you look back, oh this happened because I am successful right now because this happened before, but I didn't know it was actually supposed to be.
Right.
Like sometimes you're mad because you did something, but then a few years after that you realize it was actually a good thing.
Right. So that's what
So everything has its purpose.
Right. Everything has its own reason why it's happening. And yes, it's actually a good thing, Elsie, right? I mean, you just need to trust the process.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the key for you to be able to have a successful life, I can say. Yes. And again, trust the process. You also need to have that faith and, of course, believe in yourself.
All the time, just believe in yourself. Even though, like, a lot of people sometimes try to degrade you. You're not pretty. You're not like this. You're not like that.
Yeah.
You need to just be like, I mean, like, fake face sometimes. Just be confident about yourself. Like it doesn't matter what others like. Listen to what other people say, but don't keep it at heart. Just keep it in mind and remember that person. If something happens to you that you will be successful, and you remember that person's face that he said something bad at you, then you can look back and say, like, hey, I made it, and you did.
I made it. Yeah, right. I like that. Such a good inspiration, Elsie. Hey, Elsie, I also wanted to ask, is there something that happened in your life that you can really tell that, you're actually losing control? And then what what are the things that really help you to to get up again?
I mean, there's a lot. When I was like struggling was actually starting, college life.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of happening in college life thing. Because when I was in college, I wasn't really sure if I was in the right path of my career. Because I wasn't bad at it, but I wasn't also really good at
Especially choosing courses.
Yes, when
Yeah.
I was choosing courses, I didn't
Relate to
choose
that.
like with your family wants you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, you should be a nurse because that's the high paying job, and that's like what you're going to be when you go abroad. But when I was in college, I didn't really think about. I didn't even know what should I get. So when I went there to get enrolled, I just look at the list of everything, and then there's a computer there. Then I'll get that one. And I was like, but what is this? I didn't even know what that was, and I just like enrolled for it, and then I started for it, and then after that, I was just having fun at first because when your friends in
Meeting
high
new people.
yeah,
Right.
meeting new people and your friends in high school are still there. But after like a couple of months, like proceeding to the next year, you're starting to realize like, why am I here? What's it, like? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? What the heck? And I'm like, there's a lot of doubt. Sometimes your family questions you, like, are you? Do you want to like change courses? Do you want to proceed? Because sometimes, especially, I mean, not all, but with our culture, sometimes when you're a girl, you don't need to really study hard. You just need to find a good man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also
Have that.
yeah,
I don't like to.
yes, that's like a number one pressure, especially like I'm also like the eldest right now. So sometimes there's also pressure for the eldest doing like being the breadwinner. So even though you're still not there yet. So when I was in college, you're still thinking, should I just find a sugar daddy instead? Something like that. Right. So yeah, there's a lot of struggle. Depression comes in, with like anxiety. Am I gonna continue this? Am I gonna do this? Can I do this? That's the first thing that comes in.
There's a lot of questions in yourself, like doubt. You can really do this.
Yeah.
Is this really something that I want for my life? I mean, how would I proceed to the next stage if I don't know what I really wanted to do?
Yes.
Right.
That's the most like depressing thing when I was in college. I'm like, am I really good at it? Should I really continue this?
But I can say,
right
Nancy, that you really made it. Especially that you're on this platform. I know that there's a lot of opportunities going on right now, and it's actually a good thing. I know that you're also, doing the right position.
Just like what you said earlier, just like continue and move forward. I mean, everything has everything has their own purpose. So, I just realized I just graduated. I didn't even know. I actually
wow. Congratulations, Elsie.
Thank you. I'm like, sometimes it just happens. Like last year, it's just like we had a 2 year COVID thing, pandemic. It was quite sad. But then after that, like a blink of an eye, it's already December. It's almost December actually. It's already gonna be starting a new year.
Right.
Like for like a few months, like
2019, or
we were locked down for like
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. 2 years of lockdown.
And then it's gonna be another year. But
right now, it's a good thing that we're getting back to normal. Especially students right now are already going to.
It's actually like a prison for us.
Right. Exactly.
And now we feel the real freedom.
Right. And you know what? The good thing about COVID, it's really taught us a lot of things. How to respect others, how to be patient, especially.
A lot
to be healthier. Oh my God!
I think that's also one of the good things for the book of Mr. Rosser McDonald, like real prison, real freedom. We did experience in prison for like 2 years.
From this book having to the COVID issue. Well, I mean, everything is really connected. Yes. I like that.
Really connected. I mean, we experienced a little bit of being in prison first.
Right. We're staying at home for like 24/7.
24/7. You cannot
go out, see movies in the mall. Oh my God,
it's a lot.
It's very unusual. Yes, doing unusual things. I mean, it's really good to stay at home. This is that very limited things that you can really do.
How much more?
Especially not meeting friends. I mean, come on,
it's so hard. Especially if you're, I can see that you're like a person who likes to go a lot and meet friends. So I think it's gonna be like if you're an extrovert person, so that's gonna be like a hard thing for you because a lot of introvert persons actually really love having that pandemic thing because like they just have to meet a lot of people and they have a reason like Oh, I cannot go out.
Right, but you know what? Now, since I'm a stubborn person,
Yeah.
I still go out. Like, I still wanted to meet my friends, go to their
Yeah.
house, and their friends are screaming, "Hey, why are you here? Come on, Leia, it's COVID.
Yeah.
We might not know you have COVID, and you're here. Oh, come on. Tell your friends this is. Oh my God,
It's like a
it
real
was
person.
so fun. I mean, cra- breaking barriers, like,
Yeah,
come on.
sometimes, especially like sometimes it feels a bit exciting, but there's a lot of. It feels like prison actually because there's a lot of like policemen are inside.
Right.
Do not go out. Like if you go out, they'll be like looking at their.
Especially with transportation at that time, it's very.
Nah, there wasn't any public transportation, and
Right.
there's only like limited public transportation that they have.
Not unless if you have a car, then
Yeah,
that's
private.
okay.
Even if you have a car, even a motorcycle, you can ride a motor. Like there's a motorcycle thing that you can ride with someone, but with that pandemic thing, you cannot ride unless you're family. And it was
There's a lot of protocols that really need to be followed, right?
It's a funny thing because a lot of people try to still like be try to like earn some money and like let other people ride them, and then there's the checkpoint like, is this your family? And you're like,
right,
no.
Check the IDs if you're related to someone. Oh
And
my God.
sometimes there's like, is it your wife? And when you say
Have you
yes,
experienced that?
not actually, but my friend did. I have someone who experienced that, like when they were she rode like a motorcycle to go to like her work, and then there was a checkpoint, and then after the checkpoint they were asking, "Is he your girlfriend?" And then the rider was like, "Hmm?" And then the like
Let's
the
just
police,
make it.
yeah, till you make it.
As if we're related.
Yeah, but and then the girl was like just smiling, and then the policeman's like, if she's really your girlfriend, can you give a kiss? Like,
oh my God.
just like,
and what happened?
Like, my friend just like was down the motorcycle. I'm gonna walk.
No, I'm not related to him. I don't want to kiss him. So yeah, I'm gonna tell the truth. We're not related.
Yeah, that's one of the hard thing when having like no like transportation back then.
That's right.
But
in life kids, though, again, as what I have mentioned earlier, Elsie, the whole COVID situation thing really taught us a lot of things.
yes,
How to be patient, especially those introvert person really knows to talk person. Hey, I need help here. Come on, I need some food. I need some money everything. It's like you're really in a full imprisonment.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's a little bit better than what they experience in a real prison because at least we have social media.
Right.
I mean, we can talk to our family, we can meet them, we can play with them. Actually, we can still talk with our friends through video calls and stuff. But with them, actually, they have a lot of patience because electronic devices are not allowed in prison, and they cannot even talk to their family unless it's like visiting time. And visiting time sometimes is also limited. But for us, like having in COVID, I mean, we can kind of still same way, but a little bit only. But at least we have the experience to get to know more family. That part was also a good thing on the pandemic because we were able to
get
connect
home.
Yeah, you don't know what to do anymore. So all the thing you do is like talk to your mom, talk to your dad,
especially when it comes to having some good experimenting something. I like
that. Experimenting happens, and after the pandemic, there's a lot of food came out on social media. Oh.
Especially TikTok. Oh, right.
No, they just throw back.
Oh my God. There's a lot of butt jokes that going on. Oh my God. Yeah. That's why, it's very a good thing that Roger McDonald really created this book because, again, as we have mentioned earlier, Nelsie, that every person is really creating their imprisonment, right? It's just that you really need to really think of yourself to have that faith, trust the process, still, see that lighting, they see that, positive things that would really still come. I mean, you just need to have that faith, trust God, most importantly.
Faith for your family, loved ones. Because sometimes a lot of people in prison actually move forward, even though they know, like, especially the ones who have life imprisonment. Sometimes, even though they know they can't go out, they still dream about it and still think about their family. Like, they still love and inspire their family. Like, talk to them, think about them, and always try to do things for that. Because there's a lot of things in the prison right now that sometimes they let like prisoners try to like build their own community inside,
Right.
make a living inside.
That's why it's really good to really talk to someone.
Yes.
To also express your feelings,
Yes.
what you're going through. To share something, just to try to open up.
Yes. A lot of,
Let loose a little bit, right?
I mean, when you can talk to someone, especially if you're
A good therapy.
yeah, it's a good, really a good therapy when you can talk to someone because when it's just yourself, sometimes you go crazy,
True.
you really build up a wall and you don't even know what to do. And sometimes it's when you burst out sometimes like you're gonna feel that's why a lot of people who have depression sometimes because they have problems expressing themselves to others and just keep smiling in front of them. Sometimes they cannot express all of the thoughts that they have, and that becomes a problem. And that part will be one of the reasons they think about
Negative things, right?
negative things. Like I can live in more. Should I be here?
Losing that hope,
Yes.
right?
So I mean, someone you can lean on sometimes is actually a breather. Like it gives you a little like a little feel like I can still go on.
That's right. You know what, Nelsie? This is really like a true inspirational story, as what Mr. Ross McDonald created. Especially that right now, as what we have mentioned earlier,
Yes.
it's very different because real life prisons they don't have any social media out there. So
Yes.
this book could really be something like why not give it to a family member who's also in prison? Give this book as a gift, right? And we might not know that this could really help them a lot.
It will.
A lot of experience that has been showed here in the book, a lot of things talking about faith, talking about God,
Yes.
talking about the process, freedom, right?
All of those things, and also all the hardships that they feel inside their cell, inside their prison, inside all things that they feel, like the sadness, the anger, all those things can like inspire them to feel. I mean, it's actually one way or like one really good thing to let like people like us in the outside world to know like how hard it really is to be like that. I mean, it's really a really good inspiration to feel how they felt. Like even though, because sometimes reading the book, you experience a lot of things. But you will have your own like mind. Like you can create your own little world in the book. Because sometimes in the movies, as I mentioned last time, like sometimes in the movies because there's a scenario that is already shown to you. Some you cannot think anymore. I mean, it's a really good thing because you can experience like all the good creative things and sometimes all those things. But sometimes with a book, it really feels more magical because when you read the character, you can like put like a really good looking character. Sometimes you imagine those things. You imagine the scenarios like this and this and this and a lot of things. So it's actually really better to read books sometimes to refresh your day, to refresh your like if you're having a bad day. It's actually a magical thing.
Therapy, especially again, we have mentioned earlier, Dulcie, somehow creating these characters in your mind. So that means that your brain is also exercised, right?
You can
Let's, for example, just what Ricky Smith, what he would be, what he would look like.
Yes, maybe you can like imagine like his tall, dark, hot guy with a little bit of tattoos.
You're right.
Or like really good pictures, the blue eyes. You can imagine those kind of things. How would like
Turso?
yes, how would be like Warden he tries to look like maybe he's like a big dog guy with really like broad shoulders,
Right.
with long hair maybe, while his uniform like sticks at his body.
Exactly.
So
Imagining these
things. So there's odd part on the book. Sometimes putting your own mix in it will have a really good taste in that book.
Exactly.
Yes. So actually, that's actually one of the good things about it.
About books.
You have your own characters.
And also, you cannot like skip pages. You cannot just pause. You cannot just play pause. Hey, I wanted to have this part in order for me to really do imaginary characters. But no, it's not the case. You should need to have all those pages. Process by process in order for you to really get that story And yeah, again, it's really good therapy for someone who really wanted to, more about these topics
Yes.
that would really, really led someone to have that, freedom.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
So actually, this is a good book, and everyone who is really, really, really interested and want to know more about what life is inside there and want to be inspired and have faith more in God, you can get Russell McDonald's book, Real Christian, Real Freedom, on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. And actually, also it's actually really a good thing for a lot of audience to read this book. And after this session, there will be another live interview, after of the hour interview actually, with Mr. Russell Marlet, with one of our Reader's Magnet hosts, Ryzen, with his book, commentaries on the book of wisdom.
Yeah.
It will be another inspirational book that you can look forward to, and I hope all of you will be listening and watching for the author of the hour, for Russell Marlet, and we will be here with you and waiting.
We're going to do some quick recap, talk about Russell Marlet's book. And hey, everyone, yes, stay tuned. And yes, again, be excited to know more about Russell Marlet, as it will be shown on the next session. Yes.
So, stay tuned, everyone. Stay tuned and